What up, y'all? It's your girl Kiwan. We are back with Tyler Perry Sisters, season 8, episode 10, Forget Me Not. Um, Before I start, can you guys please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel? Click the notification bell, and you'll be notified on all of my upcoming videos. So the episode the episode picks back up with Gary walking into Andy's penthouse asking for water. Andy asked him why did he leave the hospital, and then asked him if the hospital released him. And I was like, girl, you know the hospital didn't release him. Y'all, Andy is ditzy to me. Anyway, Gary tells Andy that he stole a motorized bike, and that's how he was able to get to the penthouse. So Andy asks him questions, just asking him different questions, and he gets frustrated and he starts to yell. So she apologizes. She was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And then he goes right back to being whatever the version of Gary we're seeing at the moment. So she says she's going to call a hospital. Gary was like, please don't call a hospital. He's telling Andy at this point, I need your help. And then Andy actually hands him some clothes, and he asks, are those his clothes? And she says, no, that those were for a friend. So at this point, I'm not sure if those were his old clothes or actually Jordan's clothes. Anyway, Andy calls Hudson, and Hudson is peed off at the moment. She tells Hudson that he's at her place after all of this yelling that he's doing, and so he tells her it tells him, to come get him. So at the airport, Danny is at the front counter texting, and Leonard, co-worker, is staring at her in disgust. He can actually hear what she's putting in her text. And I would like to say, sir, mind your business, but this is really inappropriate, and it's overkill inappropriate at this point. So while she's still there at the front counter, she calls Sabrina as moral support for her not to lose her job because she wants to fight Leonard. How are you even on your personal phone making phone calls at the front desk? Anyway, Zach, Karen, and Aaron are at the shop, and Aaron is able to feel the baby kick. And at this point, the egos of especially Zach and Aaron are aggravating. Anyway, Zach feels away because Aaron was able to feel the baby's kick, but now he can't feel the baby's kicking. I like the fact that Karen is being really kind, and this is pleasant to see Karen in this space. I enjoy it. So Karen gets a phone call from Fatima, and this is probably because of the contracts that Hayden has her looking over with Marie. So we get back to the penthouse, and Gary is asking for food at this point. And of course, Angie just happened to have his favorite food in her fridge, warms it up, gives it to him, lets him know, hey, this is your favorite. Do you remember that? And I'm like, for somebody who don't care about Gary, you're showing so much care for him, for all the things he has done to you. Oh, I guess that's the link. Anyway, Robin shows up she gets a call from Robin, and she was like, Robin, is not a good time. Robin was like, I'm downstairs, I am coming up. And so he tells her, do you have anybody? You shouldn't have anybody at your house. And she was like, I have one person here. And he comes up, he hangs up the phone and comes up to the penthouse. In the next scene, Karen actually calls Fatima called Karen a moment ago Karen picks up the phone, and Fatima asks her and Pam to come down to the law office so they can go over the contracts that, you know, with that Marie Willis, with the contracts with Marie Willis. And Pam gets on my nerves, whatever. And so Robin walks in to see Gary sitting at the table eating. And he was like, hi, just, do you remember me? And of course, Gary was like, no, I don't remember you. Um, Gary extended his arm out to shake Robin's hand. He compliments Robin, and it's just so awkward. Um, and then Andy and Robin moves over, and she tells him what happened. How did Rob, I'm sorry. Andy tells Robin how Gary got to her penthouse, explaining everything to him. Um, Robin don't believe Gary, neither do I. And Robin tells Andy that he is playing her, and she says that look at him, he looks pathetic. And this is what makes Andy gullible. This is what makes Andy delusional, especially at her big old age. So back at the law office, Fatima gets a phone call, and it's Zach. And Karen, I'm sorry. Yes. So Fatima tells Zach that she can't talk. Karen is getting ready to meet her. And in this moment, he makes it about him and thinks they're meeting to basically compare notes or to talk about him and it's like, it's not about, Zach really needs to grow up. He's either too aggressive on the other show or he's too childish on this show. Anyway, he wants to know why they're meeting. So Zach, Fatima asked Zach, have you heard, do you have any more information on Hayden? So Zach tells Fatima he overheard Hayden tell his friend that Gary smashed Tamara, and that he was in a hospital, and that the footage of them smashing is on his cloud. Back at the penthouse, Hudson walks in the penthouse and tries to take Gary out of there, but Gary is fighting him off. Gary's like, I don't want to go. I'm staying here. Um, I'm staying here with Andy. And then they kind of get almost in a tussle. Andy was about to go break it up. Robin pulls her back, and then Andy was like, no, talks to Gary and say, hey, I need you to go back to the hospital. I'll come see you. And then at this moment, it felt like one of his manipulation tactics where he was like, you promise you're going to meet me? Like baiting her in like he always do. And she was like, I promise. And he was like, one of them said, I pinky promise. And then they do this thing that those two know how to do. And I was like, how you remember that? You don't remember nothing, but you only remember this. Her, everything with her. You, very suspect to me. Very suspect. So, he asked Andy to go back to the hospital with him. Andy said that she needed to catch up on some paperwork and she needed to talk to Robin, but she'll be there as soon as she's done. Robin looked annoyed, and I don't know. I just don't trust this. This is typical, but we'll see. So we get back to the airport. Tony comes to the front desk, of course, where he spends most of his waking time. And he's all over Danny while Leonard is at the next counter and can see all of this, these two at this point have become extremely unprofessional with their PDA. Meanwhile, he leaves, and it's just another back and forth banter between Leonard and Danny, and it's just unnecessary at this point. This is unnecessary. Anyway, um, Karen and Pam comes into the law office. Fatima are going over the contracts with them. Hayden walked past the conference room, sees them in there, goes in there, throws his weight around, basically told them that he's going to advise Marie to pull her investment with Roots to Riches. Hayden is very condescending, rude, and a BAN. I can't really say it on here. He belittled their business. He belittled them. He's a prick. I don't know. He's awful. So Rich comes to Sabrina's office, and they're talking about the IBF journey. She says she's scared. It wasn't nothing to that, but of course, y'all know I can't stomach Rich. But moving on. Um, they're back at the law office. Fatima asks Hayden, can they step outside and talk? At this point, Hayden is being extremely rude, extremely unprofessional to Karen and Pam, disregarding them, disregarding their businesses, just being evil. So Fatima pulls Hayden outside, and she asked him, have you done your homework on Marie Willis? And he was like, no. So Fatima actually gives him background on Marie Willis, all the things that she's went through, her songs, her group, her having a single mom, you know, and he was still telling Fatima, I'm gonna still persuade I'm still going to get Marie to pull from Roots to Riches. At this point, for whatever reason, we don't know what happened, why Hayden is so angry at her when it comes to women. So after Fatima talks to him and explains everything to him, then he kind of softens up, and he's like, okay, I won't talk to Marie Willis. And then he decided to allow Fatima to take over this contract. And I was just like, that's all you had to do in the first place. But because you're pissed off at Fatima, you're going to take it out on these women. And because you're just pissed off at women, you don't feel like these ladies need a chance. And I just don't like men like him, people like him who are willing to bring people down before they can even come up, because he's a prick, and he really is an elitist. He thinks because he's an attorney, he's everything, but deep inside, Hayden is nothing. And this is why he treats people the way he do. It is a reflection of who he is. Anyway, um, Fatima then tells Karen that she's going to be taking over this case, and she asks Karen if she's okay with it. And Karen says yes. So we get back to the penthouse, and Robin actually clocks Robin clocks Andy when he tells her that you still have feelings for Gary. Andy tells Robin that she first of all, she tells him that she doesn't, which she's lying because of the way she's caring for Gary. And then she tells Robin that she doesn't trust him, and she's coming back to the law office to claim her job. And he was like, when are you? It was like, no, you cannot come back until after this investigation is over. So Andy was like, no, I'm coming back. As a matter of fact, he was like, so when are you coming back? Next week? She said, no, as a matter of fact, I'll be back today. So he was like, this is where the office is, it's almost the end of the day. She was like, well, I'm coming back today. And y'all, this where the episode ends. And I was just, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Listen, I'm going to come back and do episode 11. So just expect that shortly. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.